This video should have been done 9 days ago, but it wasn't. Every time I tried to work on it, something would pop up. I'd start emailing, boom, a million replies. I'd text someone, bam, sucked into pointless convos. Before I knew it, I was spending an hour reorganizing my desk because, priorities. And every time I looked up, that blinking cursor dared me to come up with something profound. I wanted to give you guys my best, but the harder I tried, the longer it took. What should have taken an hour stretched into days. I started feeling like I was letting everyone down, including myself. It was a vicious cycle, and I even started questioning if I was even cut out for this YouTube stuff. Deep down, I thought it was just me being lazy. But what if it wasn't? What if I was avoiding something a lot bigger? Well, these questions led me down a dark rabbit hole, and that's when I realized laziness was the least of my problems.
You're looking wonderful, Roger.
Eric, thank you very much, Johnny. You look kind of cute yourself, you know that?
Okay, let's rewind a bit. Starting my YouTube channel was supposed to be exciting. Like, this idea had been on the back burner for at least a year. I had so much already planned out. The content, the branding, even the schedule, I was ready to go. But as the days went on, I found myself avoiding it more and more. Instead of writing the script, I distract myself with anything else. Dog needs a walk, let's go. Forgot to buy that thing? Order confirmed. City infrastructure in the shitter? Pass the hammer, bro. Every excuse I made was worse than the last. Now that I think about it, it was kind of like my crazy ex. I knew I was setting myself up for disaster, but I just couldn't stop. But I digress. However you want to slice it, I was prioritizing everything else over what I actually needed to do, which is so weird because I actually really wanted to do this. I just didn't know how to get out of my own damn way. So it got me thinking, and well, can I be totally honest with you? I think deep down maybe it was because I was terrified. Terrified if nobody watches. Terrified if people do watch but hate what I have to say. Terrified if people watch and love it and then expect me to keep that up. My mind was like a friggin' circus, juggling chainsaws while riding a unicycle on a tightrope that was being lit on fire at both ends. Regardless of the angle, all roads ended in me feeling like a complete idiot, and all these what-ifs piled up so high that they practically built a fort around me. So, there I was, stuck in some kind of twisted Groundhog Day. I'd sit down, open up my laptop, stare at the screen for a good 10 minutes, and then nothing. And when I say nothing, I literally mean nothing. Not a single word. Not even a bad idea. Just me, sitting there, dumb little cursor tormenting me like Chinese water torture. Instead of slow drips, it was slow blinks. I tried to motivate myself, but that didn't really work either. Somehow, I'd start with something useful, and within a few minutes, I'd be learning how to build a canoe out of duct tape. Time would just vanish. On the face of it, most people would call this procrastination, but this was way beyond that. This was full-on paralysis, because by the end of the day, I'd have accomplished literally zero. Zilch. I'd sit there, beating myself up, thinking, what the f*** was wrong with me? It felt like no matter how hard I wanted to work, something was pulling me back, like quicksand, and the more I fought, the deeper I sank. And honestly, it was really starting to piss me off. So I did what any normal person would do. I got some drugs and went to the strip club. Nah, just kidding. I just went to grab a coffee. I mean, I had to get the hell out of the house to clear my head a bit because it was getting ridiculous. So I grabbed my phone, put on my headphones, and took a walk. Didn't take too long because my usual coffee spot is just around the corner. The door jingled as I walked in, and for a second, it felt like I stepped into another world, even though I went there at least twice a week. Not sure how to really explain it, but it felt cozier, like a warm hug from my grandma. It was buzzing with people chatting and coffee machines hissing, the kind of white noise that makes you feel like you're part of something, even if that something is just a bunch of caffeine-addicted strangers. So, I grabbed my coffee, found a spot, and just sat there, watching everyone go about their day. I did this for a good 30 minutes or so until I felt like I was ready to get my thoughts down on paper. Problem was, I didn't have any paper. Yeah, I mean, this is something I didn't want to use my phone for. I wanted to use paper. I wanted to really feel it. Luckily, a few seats down there was this cute girl who had a notebook out, scribbling away like she was solving world hunger or something. So I walked over, gave her my best, I need help but won't admit it face, and asked if she had a spare pen and some paper. She did, and handed it over with a smile that said, "Oh God, please don't ask for my number." I thanked her and went back over to my seat, mentally patting myself on the back for not coming off as a total creep. Well, at least not then. Anyways, so I wanted to see if I could connect the dots on what was going on in my head. Now, I'm super visual, so I knew that if I could just get some thoughts down and draw them out, I probably could end up with something better than my blank screen at home. So I started to let the pen move, and man, it was like opening a floodgate, because what I think I figured out made a lot of sense, at least to me. I went down the why rabbit hole, which is basically asking myself why over and over again to my main question of why am I stuck? After about an hour, I came up with this. Yeah, this is the actual piece of paper. Long story short, it all led back to something I didn't expect at all, to be honest, and that the root of everything was my depression. Now, I could take you through this whole diagram that I made, but that would take way too long. If you really want me to put something together, check out the description below. I'll throw a link in it or something. Anyways, for now, let me give you the TLDR version. Laziness often starts because we don't know what we really want or why. When we have too many choices, we usually get stuck trying to decide what to do. We're scared of picking the wrong thing and failing, which makes us doubt ourselves. This doubt then can make us feel bad, and we can start avoiding people and situations that make us uncomfortable. As a result, we miss out on chances to grow and improve. Over time, this leaves us feeling frustrated, hopeless, and constantly stressed. All these feelings can wear us down, making us feel very tired and sad, which can lead to depression. Needless to say, depression doesn't always look like sadness or crying. Sometimes it can be just as simple as waking up tired even after a full night's sleep, or feeling like everything is too much, or even just not giving a damn about things you used to love. And when you're in that space, productivity doesn't come naturally because your mind is fighting against you. So, what can you do about it? For me, the turning point came when I discovered something called cognitive restructuring. This is a way to help you notice and change negative thoughts into positive and realistic ones, which can make you feel better emotionally. For example, you could replace "I'll never be good at this" with "I can improve with practice." Now, this is cool and all, and it can work to an extent, but it has a fundamental flaw, so I took it one step further. Let me explain. For starters, just because you say something doesn't make it true. I can say I'm Michael Jordan till I'm blue in the face, but unless I'm suddenly dunking from the free throw line, it ain't happening. This is also why positive affirmations can feel like bullshit, because they're really nothing more than wishful thinking, and also why they usually end up in the trash next to your New Year's resolutions. Yeah, they can maybe make you feel good for a minute, but when it fades, you're right back where you started. And the reason this happens is because you're not being honest with yourself. Think about it. People say things like, "I'm healthy" or "I'm happy" all the time, but they still feel sick, tired, and unhappy. This is because, deep down, they don't really believe what they're saying. Why? Well, because your brain automatically questions everything. It's actually a defense mechanism for survival. So if you're lying to yourself, well, I hate to break it to you, but your brain is already one step ahead of you and will know it way before you do. I think it's better to be brutally honest about how you feel, and in order to do that, maybe what really needs to change is your belief system. Now that's a big topic, so I'll probably cover that in another video, but for now, let me give you a quick rundown of what worked for me. Here's what I like to call the 4 corners. Super scientific, I know. Okay, so top left, it all begins with your expectations. These shape your perception, influence your beliefs, and eventually crystallize into what you consider facts. So for me, I thought about how I felt stuck and tried to figure out what expectations were holding me back. Turns out, I set them way too high, so I lowered them to something more realistic. And because now I had expectations that I could actually meet, my perception of this being Mount Everest turned into more like a hike up a small hill. And since I wasn't looking at a damn mountain anymore, I started to believe that I could actually get shit done. And when I started to get shit done and see the results of my efforts, those beliefs turned into facts. And before I knew it, I felt a lot better about myself. Bottom line, it's easy to feel like you're just being lazy when you're stuck in your own head, but the truth is, it's not about how hard you're pushing. It's about where your mind's taking you. Sometimes all it takes is a step back, a deep breath, and a willingness to rearrange the furniture upstairs once in a while. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to keep moving. Anyway, if you liked hanging out today, first, thanks, and second, you might want to check out my other stuff. Who knows, I might surprise you with something even better next week, or not. Guess you'll have to find out. See ya.